So the Chicago Bears just dropped a training camp bombshell. If you guys were watching the Miami preseason game, it kind of appeared that Braxton Jones was removed from the game as punishment for a whiff. And now it's kind of being reinforced in practice because we're looking at Theo Benedict, the former undrafted free agent Chicago got from Canada last year. He just received several reps with the first team offense in practice, and this was the first time for this to happen in the entire Bears training camp. Absolutely impossible to even try to read into the significance of this just a little bit. But it appears that Theo Benedict has entered the Bears competition at left tackle. He rotated in with the ones with Braxton Jones. Trapillo, he was actually at right tackle with the twos in this last practice. And I don't think this is nothing. I don't think this automatically says that Theo Benedict might in fact be the starting left tackle for the Chicago Bears. But in this video, I'm going to talk about some of the 53-man roster ramifications that this might be telegraphing. And also, it's kind of bad that we're this deep into the preseason. There's not really decided left tackle. So let's kind of cut into this just a little bit. And we're looking at this play during the Miami game that should actually weigh pretty heavily on Braxton Jones. And it was kind of looking at before this that Braxton Jones was going to come in. He was going to take the left tackle job. And is this Ozzie Trapillo's job to lose? Just absolutely nothing absolutely decided here. But then again, Declan Doyle, he added something here talking about this play from Braxton Jones. I think that they're starting to separate themselves from each other. I still think that this battle is wide open. Coming into game 2 in the preseason, and our left tackle job is still wide open. He is saying that the tackles are starting to separate themselves from each other, but it kind of sounds like now it's going to be a battle between Braxton Jones and Ozzie Trapillo. But then we have Theo Benedict entered into this competition. So he cautioned that the two are still very much in a battle and that Jones was in on 32% of the team's offensive snaps during the Miami game. But Trapillo, he was in on 50% of the total snaps after coming in after the starter. So whatever that's worth, whatever that's valued at, Trapillo is getting more play right now. Now, it doesn't really seem to indicate an all-out race. There are different situations. One play in particular, you had Tyson Bagent. He threw a 4-yard TD pass to Maurice Alexander. The celly was absolutely fantastic. But he was under heavy pressure from the edge because Braxton Jones just straight up whiffed on his coverage assignment, on his pass block assignment. And then right after that, right after the TD drive tied the game, Jones left the game. But Doyle is continuing to insist that this was not punishment for Braxton Jones. I don't know if I believe him. Offseason is liar's time, actually, in the NFL, but let's hear straight from Doyle. Those guys are on a rep count. It's not like something happens and a guy gets benched. We go through before the game ever happens, and we have a big chart of, hey, we want this guy to get 15 to 20 snaps. We want this guy to get 35 snaps. We want and on and on and on. In some cases, we're limited on numbers, and it's like, hey, this guy's going to play the whole second half. All we can go by right now is what the coaches have to say. I'm going to dig into a little more on what Declan Doyle had to say. But that's just one of those cases when we're trying to make sure that everybody that we're trying to evaluate plays. It just so happens that that whiff takes place at that time. So let's hear what PFF had to say about these performances. Neither left tackle got a fantastic blocking grade. Trapillo got a 58.3. Jones got a, 44.3. You also got to remember, too, Miami starters were on the field at the beginning of the game, both on offense and on defense. The Bears couldn't say the same. So many times, an offensive line is the sum of its parts. If the whole unit isn't out there, it makes it even more difficult to evaluate individual performances during a game. I just want to shove that in there. Let's talk about it a little more. Declan Doyle had a little more to say. Once again, there's a lot of football left to be had. I still think the battle is wide open. Head coach Ben Johnson, said it today in the team meeting. We're really halfway through camp at this point, And so that's starting to become clearer, but we're still very much in a battle. So we've got joint practices coming up with Buffalo. Maybe that's going to separate some things a little more. Let's hear what he had to say about that. I'm really excited to see Buffalo come in here, and a lot of our guys get work against their edge players. Last week with Miami, they've got some guys that are really impressive, and so all that tape is really valuable. So we're going to continue to watch for separation. They're not really going to tell us a lot. Maybe they're telling us something when Doyle says the tape doesn't lie. It's going to become clearer and clearer as time goes on. One of these guys are going to separate. In the eyes of Ben, of our front office, the O-line coaches, of myself, but incomplete evaluation so far. So we can look at it in two different ways, right? One's positive. The Bears have 2 more preseason games, nearly 4 weeks of practice left before the regular season starts on Monday night against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, the Minnesota Vikings have their own problems as well, right? You've got Justin Jefferson still not practicing with a hamstring injury. His hamstring injury last year kept him out for a lot of games. And then you also have Addison, their number 2 wide receiver. He's actually suspended for the first 3 games. So you're going to be facing a weakened Minnesota Vikings team. But now we're waiting for the play of Ozzie Trapillo and Braxton Jones to dictate who gets first-team reps in the near future. It's just irking, I think. The Bears do not have a starting left tackle at this point in the summer. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. We've been looking for a lockdown left tackle for so many years. We went through Charles Leno Jr., right? Braxton Jones. He's put in some good time during his time at left tackle after being a 5th-round pick. But still, there hasn't been a top-flight answer. We can say good, we can say better, but we've never had great in a very long time. 3 years into the Braxton Jones experience, I don't know what we're looking at. So what's the best case here? Braxton Jones or Trapillo stands out. Let's say Trapillo takes the starting job. Let's say it's Trapillo. He really differentiates himself. He separates himself to have Declan Doyle's coach speak. Then you're kind of in a nice spot here with Jones, right? He could be definitely installed as a swing tackle. That would be a fantastic outcome. He could be like trade bait for future draft capital. If he doesn't win the left tackle job, it's pretty obvious that the Bears aren't going to sign him to a big contract after this year. That's actually a possibility. Maybe it's good. I mean, Karan Amagaje, he's out of the competition right now. He just got injured. Now you've got Dan Rouchard talking about who the starting left tackle is going to be. Theo Benedict has inserted himself as a contender, and we're going to be looking at something really interesting. It looks like, Trapillo's going to make the roster, right? Braxton Jones is going to make the roster. But if we're looking at Karan Amagaje not even practicing right now in like a really stiff competition, I don't think the Bears are going to give up on a 3rd-round draft pick so quickly. But if Theo Benedict flashes, what do? You got to cut down to 53-man roster here. I think there's plenty of room to have this roster full with the best players. I think you have to have all these backups for the offensive line still figured out. But we got to have this blindside protection for Caleb Williams figured out too. And neither has found a consistency despite his inexperience. Benedict, he's really rising to the occasion because throughout camp, he didn't, and that preseason game, he didn't allow a single pressure on 29 snaps on Sunday. He's earned an opportunity to compete for the spot. I can't wait to see what happens. It's like, for guys, this is our very own soap opera, right? Fantasy football and real football. Let's see what happens. Appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. A huge blessing for me and my family. And I'll continue to be here on the daily. We'll talk soon.